guys, it's Leah and welcome to my library. So I tossed up for a while whether I was going to make this video or not, and I decided that I would because I don't want people to fall into traps of scammy bookish companies. And while I try not to normally be negative and make these types of videos, I just feel really inclined to. So today I am here with a cup of Earl Grey tea almost as big as my head, and with my Google Doc I've been collating to talk about the biggest sham, in my opinion, in the bookish community. The Big Book Box, aka the Fan Box, Chapter 1 Bookstore, the Autumn Bookshop, All Ranged, Gatsby and Grey, Fox Crate, Hemingway Books, Folklore Books, Spark Romance, Over the Moon LLC, Barefoot Sunshine Private Limited, that I know of. So buckle up, grab a drink, and let's get into everything I have learned about this company. So you might have heard about any of the companies on this list before, and it is because they have quite a reputation in the bookish community if you've been in it long enough to sort of know the happenings, the comings and goings of special edition and sprayed edge books. I first joined this community about a year ago now. I started getting into special edition books. I started with a few and now I have lots and lots. So I've been around the ringer now really with special edition companies, and I've tried a bunch of them, and now I know better. And in the position I'm in now, I would never ever order from any of these companies again. And I just want to hopefully be a voice who can get through and stop anyone else from supporting these people and allowing them to get away with it anymore. So all those companies that I just listed are sister companies, or as I like to think of them, clone companies of our sort of OG sham, the Big Book Box. And you might have even heard of these companies, but you're like, oh, people just say these things. They say they're scammy, they say they're shady, they say the products are good quality, but these people have never tried it for themselves. It's hearsay. It's all people saying they've heard this and this and that, but they've never bought from them before. I'm here to tell you I have bought from them before, so I'm speaking from my experience, and I'm also speaking from experience of one of my best friends. We have had two different experiences in dealing with this company, and I think we serve as good examples of what this company and its clone companies do and how it sort of gets away with some things. So you might see this Crescent City set up here, these three books in the red, blue and yellow. This is my order from the Big Book Box, which took me almost a year to get. It is a very long, convoluted story surrounding this. They are here on my shelf now though, which is saying something sort of, kind of, but only because I basically begged. In contrast, my very good friend ordered definitely a year ago, maybe even more than a year ago now, their Percy Jackson collection sprayed edition set. She has approached it very differently to me, and to this day she has received no product, no update about her product, and likely never will based on the updates provided on the Big Book Box's page. But I'm telling you guys, there are so many elements going into these companies and why they bother me. So I do have tons of notes, and we're gonna just work our way down them just a little bit. It probably won't encompass everything ever, but I've tried to collate what I can to give you a good overview about what I know about these companies and why I think you should avoid them at all costs. Just to reiterate, the list of companies who are involved in this shady business practice is extensive, and they also like to rename themselves extremely often. So the primary company, as I said, that we deal with here is the Big Book Box. They are sort of the OG, the beginning of it all. The main big companies who are their sister slash clone companies at the moment are Hemingway Books and Folklore Books.
Editing Leah here. So Folklore Books slash Folklore Literary now seems to be defunct. I cannot find any trace on them on the internet anywhere other than multiple mentions of them by people on Reddit, so I believe they might now be defunct or renamed, and I'm not tracking what the new name is.
From what I know, those are the two, other than the Big Book Box, who have the most followers and who I've seen talked about the most. You may also know them under other names such as the Fan Box, the Autumn Bookshop, which was formerly known as Chapter 1 Bookstore, All Ranged, which was possibly previously named Gatsby and Grey. I haven't been able to confirm confirm this, but from everything I've seen online, Gatsby and Grey is the prior name of All Ranged. Fox Crate, Hemingway Books, Folklore Books, which is previously known as Spark Romance. And then there are also like different LLC and private limited companies that if you order from any of the companies I just mentioned, they will ship from these different company names. It's extremely bizarre. So I know that Hemingway tends to ship from Over the Moon LLC. I have confirmed this through multiple people online. And then my order from the Big Book Box, this one right here, was shipped to me under Barefoot Sunshine Private Limited.
Editing Leah here. So not only are they all those, they're also Alice in Wonderland LLC. Also worth noting that it's really easy to register your company in Delaware and you don't have to be a resident of Delaware, and people commonly do this when they're operating overseas and want to have protection from consumer rights. So there you go. Also hilarious that they have to have a whole tab saying, is Hemingway Books legit? If you have to say that, probably means they're not.
I don't really know what the go is on why they are shipping under trade names that they are not operating under, but it is just like one of the many elements that go into them being shady. These companies are not all just similar, they are outright blatantly owned by and operated by the same people. This has been confirmed online by multiple people who were interns at the Big Book Box. They are the same people, they ship from this same place, and you can even tell in small things like the packaging and how it arrives that they are conducting the same business practices. They're the same people. These companies are not a scam in the sense that there's no chance you will ever receive a product. It's not that you're buying a product that doesn't exist in most cases. It is just that they will, I believe, play into that if they possibly can. I believe that customers, especially customers living outside of India, where they operate in Delhi. I believe that customers outside of India, there is not an incentive to ship to them. If you are constantly in their inbox asking about your order, if you're emailing them, DMing them, asking for updates about when shipping is, oh, I heard it was supposed to ship in October, like I saw on your page it says we started shipping orders in October. It's now December and I haven't received any shipping notice yet. Like, when can I expect to receive shipping? If you are that sort of person, eventually you might have to ask for months and months and months like I did, but eventually you will receive your order if you make them aware of your existence. In contrast, my friend is not that sort of person. She's not really on social media all that much. I've told her to reach out to their customer service, but she's the type of person who'll just cut her losses. It's kind of like, my bad, should have done more research. I guess it's been so long now that money doesn't really mean so much to me anymore. We work in a decent job. She sort of cuts her losses and goes, it's probably not worth the effort to me to do all that to get my product. Totally understand. I don't live my life like that, but I know that there are tons of people who will. And I think this is where they can kind of pull in money without necessarily getting product out. I fully believe that there are people out there who have ordered from them and never received their order. I think my friend will never ever receive her Percy Jackson set. And I think if I hadn't been in their inbox every week, I never would have received these books right here. Oh my god, how funny. I just got a book delivery. I didn't know that was coming. Anyway, so just to be super clear, I'm not calling them a scam. You can receive product if you order from them, but I just think the way they go about doing their business is extremely shady. Whether or not you receive your product, that's one thing. Wait times. I love a good pre-order, okay? And especially with small businesses, I'm very understanding that there can be delays on things, even in big companies, okay? I'm a fan of LitJoy Crate. LitJoy Crate is so bad, so bad for this, pushing back pre-order periods, but it's always in the pursuit of trying to have the perfect product. These companies that I've listed here today, they are not delaying your product in pursuit of producing the perfect quality thing to send to you. In fact, if you go on Reddit and have a look, their Fourth Wing collection especially is notorious. And I'm talking about the Big Book Box's Fourth Wing collection. Notorious for being poor quality, okay? So this is not a quality control delay thing. It is accepting too many orders. It is having no confirmation from publishers that they will be able to actually receive the books that they are purporting to then customize and sell to you. When I ordered this set, I was fully aware it was a September pre-order. So these, when I ordered them, they were to ship in September. At some point, they updated their website to say that they would be shipping in October. Fine, no big deal. I think I received an email in September saying my books, my order, had been received by them for customization and that I would shortly receive a tracking notice. From about November onwards was when I started hitting them up, and I finally received it in January. It was always, we're sending it at the end of this month, we're sending it in this, we're sending it then. It wasn't until I really went after them and they gave me a date. We are shipping on the 21st of January. Only then did something happen, and only because I was literally hitting them up every week at that point. I have ordered plenty from small businesses, and I am very willing to be accommodating and understanding. There are other pre-orders that I put in ages ago who still have not sent their product to me. I'm very understanding, especially when it's one person, if they've had health issues. But the most important thing is up-to-date communication. These companies do not do that. There's no communication. There are occasionally updates on their web pages about when things are shipping, but they're usually not accurate, and the timelines are all sorts of messed up. The Percy Jackson set that my friend ordered, it has now said for an entire year, we're still waiting to receive information from the publisher, like about whether or not they can get those books or not, for a year. Why would you, as a company, if you're trying to do the right thing, sell people books that you don't even know you can get? Hemingway is really bad for doing this with newly announced releases. They have done it with Onyx Storm. I remember them, and Folklore, I believe, announcing Onyx Storm's special editions the day that Onyx Storm's name was and cover were revealed. They had special editions you could pre-order. No way that they could get notice from a publisher that they can receive the quantity of books they're opening pre-orders for at that point. I've seen them do it with Elsie Silver's books, all sorts of books. They do it all the time. And how is it that they can say that they're creating a special edition for a book that is not even out yet? It's because their designs are unlicensed. Many special editions, especially from the bigger companies or the companies that have a high social media profile, get their designs licensed. So that means they work with the publisher, they work with the author, they get their designs approved. For example, this Throne of Glass set here by Acrylic Pix Bookish Nook, they are licensed designs. Not every special edition I order is licensed, especially from the very small companies where really they are paying to buy a book, they then customize and add something to the book, and then they sell it to you. So for example, my favorite company who doesn't do licensed books at this time is Perfectly Edged. I love Perfectly Edged, but there's a very big difference between a company like that and what the companies I'm talking about today do. Something that is extremely contentious is the use of AI art. These companies all use, and I'm telling you, they use it, AI generated art to design their sprayed edges. Now, Folklore has tried to say that their designs aren't AI generated. They've been copying the AI generation accusation since their inception. So they now tag someone in their post and they say, this is our in-house artist. We have an in-house artist who designs all of these for us. That person may very well be an artist, and maybe they are generating the AI for them, but they are not doing any sort of organic process in designing those edges. Trust me. It's the sort of thing you kind of have to have an eye for, but once you start seeing what is AI and what's not, it becomes very, very obvious. But also, there's such a thing as art style, and artists tend to have very distinct art styles, and the in-house artist Folklore says they are using has a completely different art style to what they are purporting to be hand designing for what Folklore is using. It's just obvious to anyone who knows a shred of something about art. I have a problem with AI designs being used. I think it's shady, and I think if you're gonna do it, at least be open about it. Be like, yep, we AI generate our edges. Fine, at least you're being open about it, right? I would rather you be open about the fact that you're using generative AI than you are claiming that you have an in-house artist when you're just using AI. You can get the artist to do AI for you if you like, but it's still AI, and that is what makes it additionally shady. Like, all the problems with AI art stealing actual artists' designs and ideas to generate something of its own. Like, there is the AI art is theft argument, but even if we put that aside for one moment, there's a big difference between AI art is theft and we're going to openly say that we are using AI art, and oh, AI art is theft. We don't support the use of AI. We have an in-house artist. It's like, why are you trying to pull the wool over our eyes? Like, it's actually offensive. How stupid do you think people are? Some people just don't know, right? But to treat your customers and the audience like they're stupid and tell them that someone is designing these designs that they clearly are not is just ridiculous. And that really does grind my gears. Another really shady thing they do is that if someone does get to the point where they request a refund, they will be blocked and banned from purchasing or contacting them. So I'm sorry, you asked for a refund, you're blacklisted. That's it. Another very shady thing that the Big Book Box did while I was dealing with them as a customer that I found very poor form was the changing of customer service emails with no notice. So I had been actively engaging in email exchanges using the Big Book Box's customer service email, and like all my order numbers were associated to a certain customer service email. There was a period of time where I sent them an email because they had told me your order is shipping in November, and it got to December and I was emailing them saying, can I please have an update? Has this been shipped and I just haven't received a tracking number? When can I expect to receive a tracking number? And my emails were going to dead air. I sent multiple. So I did reach out to them via Instagram and I said, hi, could someone please respond to my customer service inquiry? I sent emails on this day and this date. And they said, oh, please see our story for an update to our customer service email address. And by the time I saw their message, the story had expired. I checked all their archives and like their highlights for Instagram stories and could not find anything about their customer service email. So I responded to them again and I said, oh, can you please message me the customer service email because the story's expired, I can't see it. Mind you, there was no email to their original from their original customer service email to their customers saying, hey, this inbox is no longer going to be serviceable or monitored from this day. Please refer to this customer service email in the future, quoting your order number. That's fine, but there was just nothing. If you didn't have social media, if you happened to miss the 24 hours that story was live, and you were emailing about your order to the wrong customer service email, like, tough fucking luck, I guess. You're never gonna get a response from anybody because they updated their customer service email and didn't update their website to reflect that either. So you just have customer service inquiries going to dead air. How is that? What? This is a shady thing where I think it's like, oh, well, if customers are lost, if orders don't get fulfilled, no big deal. We've already got their fucking money. Oh, they can't reach out to us. Haha, so funny. People have been contacting us exclusively using this one customer service email who maybe aren't on social media or don't follow us. Boo-hoo, I guess. You're never gonna get a response. Tell me how that's okay. Don't get me started on my other problem that I had with their email procedures as a customer. So I realized that Folklore Books and the Big Book Box were linked after a particular email incident. I woke up one morning to, I'm not kidding, at least 10 or 15 emails from Folklore Books listing every product they had on their website, basically saying this is available for order, this is available for pre-sale, etc., etc. And I was like, that's really, really strange. I have never heard of this company before. I have no idea what this is. I have not subscribed to this mailing list. I went on Instagram and I looked up Folklore Books, and immediately the presentation of the sprayed edges with their announcements, the art style, that AI art style, it instantly went in my brain, Hemingway books, the Big Book Box. Sure enough, why was I receiving these emails? Because the Big Book Box had taken their customer information from the Big Book Box and automatically subscribed them to receive emails from Folklore Books, a totally separate and independent company that's not at all associated to the Big Book Box. So I don't know about every country. I certainly can't speak to India, but In Australia, that is illegal, and I'm sure in many places it is. You cannot use customer information to subscribe them to mailing lists that they did not consent to be signed up to. So that was odd. And then within that email, because I was trying to, when I was doing my thing, I was trying to figure out who they are, what is this? There was an address listed in the bottom of the email, in the signature block. And I had a look at it, had an address, and I thought, let me just look up the address because this is in the UK, and the location where it was, I was like, that's really strange. I can't really imagine people running a book special edition company out of this area, but let me just look it up real quick because I've spent time walking through this area in London and I'm like relatively familiar. So I looked up the address, and the first result it returned to me was this, and interpret this as you will, because I'm going to tell you how I interpreted it. The London office. Enjoy the freedom of remote work while maintaining a prestigious address. Get a virtual office today and watch your business thrive. It's well known that the Big Book Box runs out of India. They have tried to do something different with Hemingway and Folklore, at least that I have noticed, and make it seem like they are not also run out of India, I guess to get away from that sort of prejudiced notion that Indians are all scammers, which Indians are not all scammers. You are just scammers. So I first noticed it with Hemingway, that they represent themselves as being based in the US, they charge in US dollars. And then with Folklore, they obviously have purchased a virtual address to represent themselves as being based in London, in the UK, in quite a prestigious area. And they also list their prices in Great British pounds. Now, other than the fact that they're hiding that they're from India, why is this interesting to me? Especially the currencies. On the Big Book Box, they charge in rupees, and it is definitely, I guess, catered towards more of an Indian audience in terms of pricing. It is more, the prices are more accessible. Now, they're still not cheap per se, but especially not to Indians who have a lower median income. But if you are from outside of India, especially in developed nations who have higher median incomes, if you see the prices on the Big Book Box, you're gonna be like, these are pretty good, like, let me get those. At least that was definitely my logic. I thought that's really the cheapest set for Crescent City I've seen. Like, that's a really, really good deal. Let me pick that up. Now, you'll notice with Hemingway and with Folklore, they charge significantly more than the Big Book Box. And I think it's because they charge in currencies where people have higher median incomes, and it's more of that higher quality price. The typical prices, even on the higher end that you would expect from sprayed edge special edition companies, in comparison to their OG company, the Big Book Box, who charge in rupees. And, you know, if you're a foreigner, it's kind of like, oh yes, I'm getting those cheap Indian prices, you know? And I guess with Hemingway and Folklore, they don't have to worry too much about ostracizing their home audience. They're not like, I suppose it's like India's not their main market, so they don't have to worry about being necessarily accessible to an Indian client base. So basically they make the exact same products or very, very similar products across 3 companies operating from the same place, and charge different prices pursuant to what the average price you could expect to pay from a British book box company or an American book box company. I found that extremely interesting. And also, just with any of these companies, go to their shipping updates page and look at the volume of outstanding products. It boggles my mind that you wax lyrical about we're a small business, and then you scroll and scroll and scroll in their shipping updates, and there are 500 products, or at least that's what it seemed, all saying that they haven't shipped, or they will start shipping soon, or we haven't heard anything from the publisher. Why are you releasing more products when you can't even keep up with the products that you've already sold? The Big Book Box especially is criminally bad for it, because they do have like a monthly and quarterly book subscription box service where they are a year behind in actually shipping the book boxes. And I have noticed, especially with the Big Book Box, that you will start seeing on social media people receiving their products, because like they'll post it on their stories like, look at our happy customer, you'll see them get tagged, and it's all their Indian client base, and even sometimes their employees who are posting them and pretending that, oh yeah, look, I received my product, and it gets people excited, and it gets the customers who are waiting on that thinking, oh my gosh, mine should be coming soon because people are already receiving them. That is the mentality I went through with Crescent City for a very long time. I would see them start being posted on the Big Book Box's social media, like tagging it, making it look like customers were receiving their order, and I thought, fuck, any day now mine will be coming, and it didn't. It was 4 months or more from when I saw those posts to when I actually received my order. And I guess my final point on their shadiness, and this is more of a funny one than anything, I used to call out Hemingway and Folklore and the Big Book Box quite a bit on Reddit when I still used Reddit. I've deleted my account, but my posts are still there, so sometimes you can find them from deleted user. And I still check up on Reddit sometimes through Google and look at people's posts, and it's actually funny, the phenomenon that happens on Reddit when you talk about these companies. So in my experience, I remember really distinctly that if I made a post saying like, hi guys, the Big Book Box has diversified again, they've come out with a new clone company called Folklore Books, don't fall for it, these are the observations I've made about it so far. At first you would get like hundreds of upvotes and people being like, oh yes, I've noticed this too, or thanks for letting us know, blah blah blah. 24 hours pass, you look at your post again, and the post has been brigaded, not with comments, just with downvotes. The original post would be downvoted to hell. All the comments that said anything similar to what you were saying, downvoted to hell. I've seen it happen on pretty much any post talking about any of these companies. It's been published in the last 6 to 9 months onwards, really, you start to see this happen. They are absolutely brigading the Fairy Loot subreddit and any negative posts that are made about these companies. It's almost like comically funny to witness. Additionally, every time these posts are made, you'll see random people pop up and they have no karma on their Reddit accounts. They've never commented or posted anything before, but they'll be commenting on this post saying like, oh, no, they're not scammy, they're not shady. I placed my order with Hemingway and I received my box really quickly. I received my books really quickly and it was super well packaged and look how beautiful they are. And then the photos they post are all photos that have featured on like Hemingway's social media before. And you're like, okay. It's pretty rare you find people truly organically posting their support for these companies, but that's more of just like a funny speculative thing from me. Like, I have nothing to prove that they truly are brigading posts. Maybe there are just like that many silent supporters of the Big Book Box and Hemingway and Folklore out there that when someone says something on Reddit, they're like, oh, you're wrong, and I'm a big fan of them and I've received product and they're great, I'm just going to downvote this person, I'm not going to bother to clarify in the comments. Like, maybe that is what happens, but I do think it's kind of funny that if you go on any post on the Fairy Loot subreddit about any of these companies in approximately the last 6 months, they'll be downvoted to hell. Funny. Interesting. And if they do have anything to do with the brigading, I would say to them, my great advice, if that is something they are doing, is get the fuck off social media and go and customize some books and ship some orders. It's really not that hard. Be so for real. You wouldn't have a bad reputation if you followed through and you did things properly. But yeah, that's all I really have to say on that. Like, I'm not going to pull this set down and show you what they look like because look, the quality, it's fine, but I don't want to be really putting emphasis on the product at this point. I will never advertise them, or if someone were to ask me, wow, I love your Crescent City set, where did you get it from? I'd be like, dude, I'm not even going to tell you because I don't want you to go out there and support them and then I'm like the asshole who told you about this company. I don't want to be that person. I don't want anyone else to potentially lose their money or have their money like held in limbo for 12 months. Like, no way. So if this video can bring some awareness and stop even one person from ordering from these companies, then I'm happy with that. And look, if there are people out there who've had great experiences with these companies and you feel like I'm totally off the mark, hey, that's fine. I'm more than happy for you to share your experiences down below, really. Like, maybe my experience doesn't speak for everybody, but from what I gather, like, this is a pretty common consensus in the bookish community, and I would rather that we uplift companies who do the right thing, who have good customer service, who support their customers and are communicative and who put out genuinely good products, rather than people who seem to be out there to make a quick buck and are happy to get away with never shipping products to people, because that is definitely how I perceive this company. They're super shady as far as I'm concerned, and I wouldn't recommend them to anyone. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about this for now, and we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming from now on. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.